Welcome to A Slob Comes Clean, the podcast. I am Dana K. White. I'm the author of Decluttering at the Speed of Life and How to Manage Your Home Without Losing Your Mind, and coming soon, Organizing for the Rest of Us. So I share cleaning and organizing strategies that actually work in real life for people who don't love cleaning and organizing. Thanks for joining me today. This is podcast number 312, and I think I'm going to call it The Power of Can and Can't. So, I will do the ad later for better help, but I am going to talk about just a major breakthrough that I have had after talking to my own BetterHelp therapist. So anyway, okay, so the power of can and can't. But before we get into that, I do want to make sure that you know that through the end of November, you can get my 14 Days to Opening Your Front Door to Guests. That's an ebook for $4. It's normally $7.99. Go to aslobcomesclean.com/14. That's like 14, the number. And use the code podcast to get it for $4. So anyway, okay, just want to remind you of that. Okay, so let's get into what it is that I've had this breakthrough on with the power of can and can't. So one of the things that I've been talking to my own therapist about is my sleep issues. But okay, I'll just be honest. Actually, only one time did we talk about this, and she gave me some tips that majorly helped me, and my sleep has been better for, I would say, a week and a half now. My issues with sleep are that, I have no issues going to bed. Oh my goodness, I am ready to get into bed at my kids know. I'll be like, hey, is it too early for me to go to bed? And my daughter's like, hey, if it's 8 o'clock, you just go on, honey. She's so encouraging and lovely. Anyway, so I can go to sleep. That's not a problem. But I wake up around to go to the bathroom. My whole life have been like that. So it's not just with age, but, anyway, so I'll wake up to have to go to the bathroom, and then I have such a hard time going back to sleep, to the point where I'm miserable because I'm just laying there sometimes for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, just because things will start to go through my mind. And I'll just be all these things that I think, why can I not think about this during the day when I could actually do something about it? Call so-and-so, do whatever. Anyway, that's my sleep issue. So I was talking to my therapist about it, and I just said, hey, is there anything you can give me as tools to help with my sleep? And she gave me a couple things, but one of the things that she said was, tell yourself, I can go back to sleep. And she said, there is just, and I don't remember exactly what she said, and I am not a mental health professional, and so I'm not trying to give mental health advice here. But it was something tell yourself you can go back to sleep, as opposed to focusing on how you're worried about how you can't do it. And I was like, what? Anyway, so let me just kind of tell you some of the things that I have tried in the past, which I told her, and which have been helpful to a degree at different times, but nothing has been as powerful as this. So some of the things that I do or have done is, I will focus on relaxing, starting with my toes, then my feet, and blah, blah, blah. And often that will work. Okay. But it's stressful to me because the whole time I'm doing that, I'm thinking, I've got to do this because I can't sleep. Anyway, other things I would do is try to, focus on certain words or phrases or something like that in my mind so that I don't start thinking about the things that will keep me awake. Okay. So, that's something. But again, it's focusing on something with the underlying thought being because I can't sleep. Okay. I know some of y'all are like, we did not listen to your podcast to talk about sleep, but I'm getting to my point. Okay. And how this has been powerful. Other things that I've done is, using earplugs or whatever. And sometimes that will help too. So a lot of those things help, but they all have this underlying, I don't know if paranoia is the word. Again, I'm not the mental health professional here, but underlying kind of a panicky, anxious-y feeling of I'm doing this because I can't sleep. And she said, instead, tell yourself, I can go back to sleep. I can go back to sleep. Y'all, and that's what I've been doing. And I don't know why, but it's working. It's somehow shifting from being anxious about what I can't do and instead focusing on what I can do even though it's a little woo-woo, I'm just being honest because I don't know why saying I can go back to sleep is so helpful to me. Y'all, here's my thing. I've been a little bit nervous about saying this to y'all because I'm like, oh, well, then it's going to stop working. Anyway, and maybe it will. But it has given me insight into a lot of the reasons why the things I'm doing in my home have been helpful for me because they are focusing on what I can do as opposed to what I can't do. So that's what we're talking about today, is just shifting this, like, instead of focusing on the things I can't do, focusing what I can do helps me move forward and actually make progress. Hey, sweetie, don't lick the couch. Hey, my dog likes to lick the couch and then she does it super secretly, she thinks, and I can still see that she's doing it. Anyway. All right. I wasn't telling you not to lick, although you probably shouldn't lick your couch either, but anyway. Okay. So, what are some things that this just makes me go, yeah, I think that's why this works well in my home. So trash is something I can do. Instead of looking at a whole overwhelming mess, like opening up a cabinet and saying, oh my goodness, it's just completely packed. I've got to declutter this. And instead of focusing on, oh my goodness, I can't deal with all of this right now. Instead, I'm like, okay, I'm going to get the trash out. Okay. If this is the first time you've ever listened to my podcast, welcome. It's not usually about sleep, but I have a decluttering process. Okay. This is the process that I teach in Decluttering at the Speed of Life and then take you through all the rooms in your home. It's also going to be in, a very short version in Organizing for the Rest of Us and it's got pictures and things, but it's like I have a 5-step process that I have developed because I would get so overwhelmed looking at a huge mess. And I'm like, okay, well, how do I get started? How do I get going? How do I make progress and only progress? And my 5-step decluttering process is designed for me to be able to make progress and only progress, to guarantee progress, to not put myself in a situation where I have, I never pull everything out of a space. Instead, I'm like, what can I do that guarantees that I'm going to make some progress? And so that's the thing. What can I do when I'm not actually sure that I can do this, or because I don't know if I have the time or I don't have the confidence to do this? What is it that I can do? Well, what I can do is get trash out of that space. Okay. And somehow focusing on the fact that I can get trash out of the space, I can look for trash, even if I'm convinced there's not going to be any trash. Instead, I go, well, but I can look for trash. Okay. So I think that's one of the reasons that that's so powerful, is because looking for trash is something I can do, as opposed to being upset and anxious thinking about all the things that I can't do because I can't actually deal with this whole mess right now. And it's been building for years. Okay. But I can look for trash. Right. Again, easy stuff. That's something I can do. So that's the second step in the process, is the easy stuff. Not just thinking about all the stuff that's going to require so many decisions. Oh my goodness, I just can't deal with all those decisions right now. I've just got too many things going on. I have too many decisions in life that have to be made. And so blah, blah, yada, yada, whatever. Instead, I can focus on what I can do, which is easy stuff. So I go ahead. Easy stuff I define as anything that has an established home somewhere else in the house. It's just not there for any reason. Like, it's easy because I can look at it and go, oh, well, the dog treats go on the dresser that is right next to the dog crates. Like that's it, because that's where we give them their treat every night when they go into their crate. So it's like, instead of being like, oh my goodness, I just can't keep my house under control. How in the world do dog treats end up in the master bedroom closet? Whatever. Instead of being like focusing on all the can't of, oh, this is so hard for me. Instead, I go, okay, what can I do here? Well, I can take the dog treats to where they already have an established home, because there's nothing to think about there. See what I'm saying? So it's like a can versus a can't. The duh my third step in the process is to just give myself permission to look for things that are obvious clutter and I don't need to ask any questions about. I just need to stick them in the donate box. Sometimes people ask me about this stuff. They're like, I don't understand it. And I'm like, don't overthink it. It literally is just in the process to give myself permission to not have to ask my decluttering questions about every single item if I don't need to. They're there because I may need to ask those questions on things that other people are like, seriously, you have to ask yourself decluttering questions on that. But if I have to, I have to, and that's great. But I'm also giving myself permission to not ask those questions if there's something that I'm like, well, of course this needs to go. Because the more I can pull out trash, take easy stuff to its already established home with zero emotional energy being spent, the more I can just stick stuff in the donate box without asking the questions, the faster I am going to make progress in this area. Okay. So giving myself permission to just say, yeah, I actually don't like this color of shirt. So I am going to stick it in the donate box, without analyzing and thinking through and working through the process on it. Instead, just acknowledging that stuff I don't like going in a donate box is part of the process. That is something I can do. It's giving myself permission. It's saying, okay, I can do this, stick stuff I don't like in the donate box. You know what I mean? Versus, oh my goodness, it's going to take me forever to go through here. Is the more steps that I have that are just, I can do this. I can throw away trash. I can stick stuff I don't like in the donate box. I can, go ahead and take things to its already established home without going through some big process. The more I do that, the more the space is decluttered because it has less in it than it did before. And that is progress. That's the definition of decluttering success, is having less than you did before. So I'm saying, so it's, I guess I'm just trying to give you a different way to look at the stuff that I already talk about, and hoping that will help you chill out about it a little bit. Like I've been chilling out about my sleep a little bit. And so giving you maybe this is why this works, is because it's a can that you can focus on versus a can't of, oh, the whole project is overwhelming. See what I'm saying? Okay. What can I not do? What can't I do? Well, I would often look at I now can get my whole house cleaned in a day, but back when I was completely overwhelmed in my home, when I had way too much stuff, more stuff than I could ever possibly handle, when I didn't have daily things under control, I would look at my house and go, I need to get my house clean. Well, that was something I couldn't do because I had tried many times to clean like a crazy person for a day. Well, the more stuff I had in my house, the more that was not possible no matter what, the more I had, babies that I had to take care of and kids that I had to take care of and responsibilities of jobs and things like that. Well, then I could not do that. It just was not possible. That was a can't. But instead, I started making progress when I started doing the dishes. Well, what's something I can do? I can do the dishes. And doing the dishes every single day is what actually started changing my whole house overall, as I started really focusing on and realizing the power of doing certain things every single day. What can I do? I can do the dishes. What can't I do? Clean my house from the top to the bottom when it's been just collecting stuff and has way more stuff than I could ever handle and hasn't been worked on in a really long time. You know what I mean? So it's like breaking through that overwhelm and saying, what is it that I can do? I can do the dishes. What can I do? I can sweep the floor. I can sweep the kitchen floor. That's another one of my daily tasks. So it's a different way to look at it instead of just thinking about the overall, oh my God, what can I do? I can sweep the floor. What can I do? I can check the bathrooms for clutter. Another one of my 4 daily tasks. What can't I do? Pick up every last thing when the house hasn't been picked up in years, or months or whatever. What can I do? A 5-minute pickup. A 5-minute pickup is doable. It's something that I can do, that you can do no matter what. Why? I'm not focusing on the volume of things that need to be done in this house. Instead, I'm saying I can set a timer for 5 minutes and pick up for those 5 minutes. But you see what I'm saying? Like the power of that distinction. Because that was the problem. That's the reason I came up with a 5-minute pickup, because I had always before focused on the fact that my house needed to be picked up, that I needed to put things away. Well, there was so much because I hadn't done it in a long time. And so whenever I would say, okay, I've got to pick up, and I would go around picking up, and I would spend the entire day picking things up and putting them away and still not be done at the end of the day. And it would just feel impossible. And I didn't have a place for everything in my home. Like the whole a place for everything and everything in its place drove me absolutely bananas when people would say that, because I was like, I don't have a place for everything. And so to do that, to be like, oh, just pick up. Well, I can't, because I don't have a place for everything and it takes forever. So I came up with a 5-minute pickup to say, I've got to do something here. I mean, this is not working. And I have to do something. And 5 minutes was the least amount of time that I could justify personally. You know, if you want to do 1 minute, do 1 minute. But 5 minutes was the least amount of time that I could justify spending on picking up my house. And so I picked up for 5 minutes because that was something I can do. I can spend 5 minutes picking up the things that I do know where they go and that do have an established place in my home and putting them away. And my house was better off. And the more days that I did 5-minute pickups, the better my house got overall. And it finally started making the real progress because I was focusing on something that I can do as opposed to focusing on the overall that is just so overwhelming and just felt hopeless and endless. What can't I do? Okay, when my house was completely overwhelming and I had way more stuff in it than could possibly ever fit. Didn't know that because I didn't know there was a limit to physical spaces. I mean, come on, I knew it. It's not like I didn't know that, but I felt like I didn't know that. I feel like I didn't know that. Like it just didn't occur to me that there was just a limit to how much stuff I could handle and how much stuff could fit in my house. The container concept and my clutter threshold is the way I define those things or describe those things now. So what can't I do? Have a place for everything when there's simply more stuff in my house than I could possibly ever fit into it. What can I do? Ask, where would I look for this first? Okay. So, my big complaint was I don't have a place for everything. I don't know where everything should go. But what I can do is ask myself, where would I look for this first? And let that be the place where something goes in my home, is where I would look for this first. Okay, so that's my first decluttering question. If I needed this item, where would I look for it first? And then I take it to that place right now. Those are both things, asking that question, answering that question, and then taking it there right now. Those are things I can do. If I put it into a pile, because I've asked myself that question, where would I look for this first? Oh, I would look for it in the drawer in the master bathroom. Okay. All right. So I just set it aside. Well, at that point, I don't really know for sure that I can do that because I might eventually take it to the master bedroom drawer after I've had to ask myself that question again, because now I'm going through the pile and having to ask myself to remind myself what it was that I decided before anyway, which I felt like I was being more efficient when I would put it in those piles. But in reality, I wasn't being more efficient because then I was doing the same thing twice, asking myself the same question and making that decision twice. Not efficient. Okay. But what can I do? Well, I can take it there right now. And then when I take it there right now, I know for sure, is there space for it here? Can it go here? Okay. I may have to remove something else that is easy or a duh or trash to make the space for it, but it's done and it's over and I can do that and I can be done with that. Where before I would just have this vague idea and not actually put it there. Well, when I don't actually put it there, I may get there and realize, oh, that space is full and there's nothing in it that I like less than this. And so even though it could go there, I'm not going to put it there because it doesn't deserve space there more than the stuff that's already there. And so I really actually just needed to donate it. See what I'm saying? So it's like what can I do? What can I go ahead and do? Which is the value. And what I've known is the value of this process for me is that it helps me actually make progress, actually let things play out how they really play out, as opposed to me being like, having all these big ideas in my head and then not actually implementing them. So looking at it from can versus can't, it's just another way to look at all this same stuff that helps me go, okay, well, that's one of the reasons that it works so well is because it's what I can do. And then I go ahead and act on it. What can't I do? Figure out the very best way to make sure all of my stuff goes to the very best places where it will be loved and valued forever by people who will appreciate it. Why can't I do that? I don't have the time. I don't have the time. And so when I'm focused on that, my stuff going to the very best people who are going to love it and appreciate it, that is overwhelming because there's not one person who wants all the junk that I had in my house. I mean, I was collecting all sorts of different things. And so here are the things that a theater teacher would love. Here are the things that a science teacher would love. Here are all the things that a elementary speech language pathologist would love. Here are all the things that somebody with a daughter between the ages of 2 and 4 would really love for her dress up stuff. Here's the stuff that someone with a son who likes baseball and is between the ages of 11 and 14, this is what all of a sudden that becomes this overwhelming, daunting task to think of getting that stuff to the right people. So I can't. It's too much. What can I do? Decide that I'm going to donate it to a place that doesn't make me sort things out, to a place that takes clothes and kitchenware and kids' toys. That's what I can do. I can put it in a donate box and take it to a less ideal place, but it's going to be gone and I'll have achieved the actual purpose, which is getting it out of my house. Okay. I am not a store for free stuff for people who will get excited about taking my clutter. I'm not a store. I am a person who needs to get stuff out of my house. So what can I do? I can donate it to the easiest place. I can load it up in the back of my Suburban, and it's not lovely, but I can drive the 30 minutes to the place that I like to donate because I honk and they come out and they unload it out of my car for me and never are like, oh, what's in here? Oh, we don't take such and such, or we don't take that. They just take it. They take it all. So it's worth it to me to drive the 30 minutes. See what I'm saying? Can versus can't. Okay. So y'all know that I'm moving. So what are some ways that I'm applying the can, like looking for things that I can do? So, my mom has been coming and helping me, which I am unbelievably grateful for. And, she says, I can come on Monday and Tuesday. And I'm like, okay, come on. Did I have other things that I thought I was going to do? Yes. But you know what? I'm going to take this help when it's offered because I can, right? Okay. So, part of my issue with accepting help has been like, but I wanted to do it this certain way because I'm nervous. I mean, I'm just nervous. I am a stuff conflicted, issue laden person. And so I am trying to do this moving thing as best as I possibly can. Well, I don't get to do everything ideal because I need the help and I'll take it when I can get it. So what can I do? Well, I can my mom is great at packing breakables so that they won't break. Like that's her wheelhouse. I am not as great at that. So what do? Well, I set up a station for her where she won't have to bend over because, she's like 70 something and she doesn't want, that's harder for her physically. And so I want to make it as easy on her as possible. So she'll come back and help some more, but so I set up a place for her and then I bring the breakables. That's what I do. And I'm doing my best as I'm bringing the breakables to get rid of things as I go. Okay. To be careful about, do I think, well, in an ideal situation, I would be the one packing it and, I would be better at packing breakables. That's ideal versus what I actually can do. What I can do is bring it to my mom and make my decisions as I'm doing that. Okay. So that's one of the, things that I'm doing. What can I do? I can look for every opportunity to get rid of stuff. So we've talked about trash here before, right? And how in my town, we've had the lovely opportunity, and I do mean lovely opportunity to, we've never had a limit on how much trash we could put out. And my husband is a trash lover. Like he will have me take pictures next to him of him next to like lots of trash bags. He'll be excited about that, which, cracks me up, makes me laugh. But anyway, and we're now limited to the one thing of trash. And we don't have recycling, which makes it hard because it's like if we had a recycling bin, then it would be easier because we could separate out the recycling and then be able to put more stuff out. So we're kind of on this limited thing right now. So it's frustrating. I've told my husband, I'm like, it's frustrating that, we've lived here for 15 years and have been able to put out all the trash we wanted to put out. And now we're limited on how much trash we can put out as we're moving, when we're going to have more trash than we've ever had and have it's frustrating. So what can I do? Well, I can pace it out, so like today we had some extra room in our trash bin. I guess that's what they're called, these big plastic things. So it was like, okay, I can get stuff out of my freezer that's attached to my refrigerator in my kitchen. Do I have, because I had been telling him, I'm like, I have got to clean out the freezer because I don't want to move, stuff in the fridge that should have been, it's freezer burned and it should have been thrown out, whatever. So I cleaned out that one. I didn't have the room to also clean out our deep freeze that I would like to also get rid of stuff from that as well. But that's what I can do. That's what I have to do. And so that's what I'm doing is I am focusing on what I can do and I'm getting that stuff out. Now we're working together. He's so much better at remembering trash than me. So I've told him, I'm like, remind me every trash day until we move to go clean out whatever fridge, freezer, any of that kind of stuff that I can, because that's the stuff that I feel like I can't do ahead of time because it would just melt and be messy or whatever, but I can go ahead and put it into the, thankfully it's also cold right now, which makes it easier than summer in Texas where things melt within, 30 seconds. But what is it that I can do? I can fill that space up. Make sense? Okay. All right. I will talk to y'all next week. Bye.